on the back of the most vulnerable and poor people in this society.
Diane Abbott confronted in Parliament. Starmer remained silent amid tense exchange. Okay, this wasn't just another fiery moment in Parliament. This was a political earthquake right in the middle of a supposedly united Labour front. While everyone was watching the headlines about the economy, immigration, and the Tories' latest missteps, something far more personal, far more revealing, unfolded inside the chamber, and it involved two of Labour's most recognisable faces, Diane Abbott and Keir Starmer. One confronted. The other watched in silence. And that silence, it spoke louder than any speech. Let's break down what really happened. It started like any other debate session. MPs were discussing equalities legislation, internal Labour governance, and party conduct standards. But then Diane Abbott stood up. Her tone, calm, but her words, absolutely cutting. She turned directly to her own party. Not the Tories, not reform, her own leadership. And she asked the question many have been thinking for months, but few dared say out loud. If we are the party of justice, fairness, and inclusion, then why am I still suspended, while others with far more serious cases are quietly reinstated? The chamber went quiet. You could hear pens stop moving. A few audible gasps. Some shifting in chairs. And right across from her sat Keir Starmer. Stone-faced. Listening. But not responding. No statement. No interruption. No signal to engage. Just silence. Now, for some context, because this has been building for a while. Diane Abbott, Britain's first black woman MP, was suspended from Labour's parliamentary party last year after comments she made in a letter to The Observer sparked controversy. Abbott apologised almost immediately, saying she withdraws her remarks and disassociates herself from them entirely. She even acknowledged the hurt caused and said it was never her intention. But despite that, her suspension dragged on. Month after month. No update. No ruling. No reinstatement. Meanwhile, other MPs, some under investigation for far more serious matters, were quietly welcomed back into the fold. To many, especially within Labour's grassroots and activist circles, this felt targeted, disrespectful. And now Diane herself has said it, on record, in Parliament. Journalists in the gallery looked stunned. Political X, formerly Twitter, erupted. One user wrote, "Diane Abbott just said what thousands of us have been screaming into the void. The silence from Starmer is everything." Another said, "This is shameful. You suspend a trailblazer like Diane for a mistake she owned up to but let others slide? That's not equality." Even Labour insiders seemed shaken. A former staffer close to Momentum said in a now viral tweet, "They didn't expect her to speak out. But she did with clarity and with dignity." The silence from the front bench? Deafening. And what makes this moment so much more than just party politics is what it represents. This wasn't just about Diane. It was about the soul of the Labour Party. For decades, Abbott has stood on the front lines of British politics, often alone, often under fire, but always outspoken. She was never the party's polished spokesperson. She didn't care about appeasing newspapers. She cared about representing the voiceless, the communities so often left behind in political discourse. And now, she's being left behind by her own party. The Labour leadership's silence, not just yesterday, but over the past year, raises one deeply uncomfortable question. Who gets protected, and who gets pushed out? Because we've seen a pattern. Voices from the left, Corbyn, Abbott, even younger figures like Zara Sultana, are consistently scrutinized, sidelined, or silenced. Meanwhile, centrist figures close to the Starmer circle are offered a path back, no matter the controversy. Public reaction has been split but emotional. Some centrist commentators argue that Abbott's remarks should disqualify her, that her apology wasn't enough. But for a massive portion of the public, especially young voters and minority communities, this has gone beyond policy and politics. It's now about principle. A viral video posted by activist group Black Activists Rising Against Cuts had this caption: "You don't have to agree with everything Diane says. But if you don't respect what she's done and how she's been treated, you're not being honest." And that's what makes this so hard to ignore. This wasn't a backroom fight. This happened on the floor of Parliament, in the open. And Keir Starmer, leader of Her Majesty's opposition, had a choice in that moment to defend, to clarify, to lead. He chose silence. So, where does this leave things? Officially, the Labour Party says Abbott's suspension is still under review. Unofficially, insiders claim a decision may come before the next general election, likely behind closed doors, with little explanation. But now that Abbott has spoken out in Parliament, that quiet option may be off the table. This issue is public, emotional, political. And if Labour thinks it can campaign on justice and equality while one of its longest-serving MPs is left in limbo, they might be in for a wake-up call at the ballot box. Because the question voters are asking is no longer just about Diane Abbott. It's bigger than that. What kind of party do we want Labour to be, and who gets to belong in it? Stay tuned.